Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Adams Rite number 4570-01-121 ST. This is a sliding door lock that is used in ICU doors. Hospitals in the ICU unit will have sliding aluminum doors. And very common. I've seen them myself. This client has purchased this sliding door unit because they need to maintain, modify, correct, reinstall hardware. And when you buy this 4570, and it's not in their catalog, but you're going to get the 5017 lock body. This is a self-latching lock body so that when you push the door closed, it's going to relatch. Okay? You're going to get a couple of sliding door pulls. They are identical except that they're handed differently so that they rotate in opposite directions. You get one of each hand. And what I'm driving at is this one goes this way, this one goes this way, so that you can install them like this. You can install them like this, like this, like this, however they need to be installed. You should have no need to have to rehand anything because you can put them this way, or this way, this way, or this way. You can just switch them around to get the desired function so that when you are pulling on the unit, you're retracting it. These pull handles, these pulls, I do not see listed in the catalog for a constituent part number, but I'm going to pull up the catalog now and see if we can determine if there's a part number for this handle. And they indeed do. It's the 4568 handle that you're going to see here. Just to confirm, it should be 4 3/16 tall. This is closer to 4 5/16. 1 11/32 wide, so about 1 3/8. Yeah, right in that range. And this video will serve as dimensional properties, dimensional evidence as well of the item. This is the 4568 handle. Okay, this can be used on different pieces of equipment. It would normally be, of course, seen installed horizontally on a door in order for it to work. And the 4568 can be done in the 121 finish, which is what we're looking at here, the dark bronze, can be done as in a 119 finish, which would be black, and then a 130 finish, which would match your 628 clear anodized aluminum color. They would say that this is European styling, is what they call it. Your handle would normally look like that, but on your door it'll look this, like this, or like this. Has that slight, slight angle to its profile. Okay. Let's take the rest of the dimensional properties of the handle. Overall projection, about 2 5/16, as you can see. Overall length of the handle itself is about 4 3/4 inch, with the width of about 13/16. Now you'll get the two handles. I don't see any reason to have to remove this screw. I don't see any reason to try to drive out that roll pin that's there, that's holding the lever in position. I can't see why you might need to get inside of there. There is no published parts drawing for this, for the 4568, that I've been able to locate at all, which tells me that the item does not have any serviceable parts on the inside, or that any documentation is simply not published. So should you need to work on this piece only, I think we'd be able to get you a 4568 complete handle, but we'll certainly want to order it from the factory for use on a 4570 type application, or a sliding door rather than a swinging door. When I look at the way to order the 4568 handle from the catalog, they do not give us any ability to tailor the fact that we're using it on a 5017 sliding self-latching, or they call it self-protecting bolt. Okay. Okay, now, moving forward. So we've taken the dimensions of the handles, some quick dimensions of the lock body itself. Overall height, about 4.5. Overall width, about 5/8. The edge of the lock body to the center of where the actuator comes into play is about 1.25 inches. And I'll get to the actuator in a minute. That little slotted screw that's there allows you to tailor the projection of the bolt. Right now it's at its maximum. And that dimension down in here, as you can see, it's about 1/4 inch. Okay? As we draw that in, you'll be able to see how... Oh, I had it backwards. I thought I was, as I'm doing that, I'm saying to myself, it seems awfully small. Its minimum is 1/4 inch. As we draw it out, I said to myself, that's awfully tight. Now we get ourselves out to about, not too much more, but, you know, almost about 1/8 of an inch greater, okay? Today is 2 days after Christmas, and it's been a 4-day weekend, so it's like 30 years of hardware knowledge gone to waste. I take 2 days off of work and I'm in trouble. So now you've got your lock body information. Now the actuator I had mentioned, you'll get 2 of these, and these actuators are used on the diamond spindle that's here. Okay, we're going to get it basically vertical. We're going to, in that slot that's there, make that communicate, and as I rotate the lever, as I rotate, I've got, what do I have here? Let's take a look and see what we're doing. And what you'll notice is when trying to operate the unit, you will come to conclude that you need to install the material, the actuator, so that it is timed correctly. I had it biased in the wrong direction, so that's why it wasn't operating. But as I attempt to hold all of this in my hand and operate the lock, we then do see that it operates perfectly. Okay, now let's take a closer look at that actuator. Now the actuator itself, and this is, that part number is 41-0114. This can be ordered separately. It would be something that I would think over time, with enough use, you're going to be probably in a position to maybe need to replace it. I can understand how these parts would get worn with enough use. Okay, part and parcel, you're going to get it with the 4570 assembly. You need 2 of them. The other packaging that is included in the hardware is, and this is where we'll look at the installation instructions, which are linked to, there is a link to them down below. You're going to see that you have a door preparation, and you have 5 holes in the face of the door. You have a preparation in the edge of the door as well. One deviation that I don't see how they are making clear is the fact that this is a radiused faceplate, and we had discovered the width of the faceplate itself, so your radius you can determine. They're showing a square preparation in the edge of the door, and they want that prep to be 4 1/32 of an inch overall high in the door. And the reason that they're showing it square like that is because the faceplate is literally going to be surface applied to the edge of the door. Okay, so only the body is going to go inside of that cavity that they've created. That rectangular cutout in the edge of the door It will accommodate the body only. You're not trying to make it flush with the edge of the door. This will literally be surface mounted. Okay, so those 5 holes in the door, one of them's for the actuator, and you can see where that lines up. And they'll give you a center line of where to justify the 5 function holes that are on both sides of the door, referencing the bottom of the cutout and the edge of the door. What they're not giving you is a center line. So what you'll probably want to do is, if you're doing a swap out on existing, you don't care. If you're doing a new installation, you probably want to take a look and see what's the best height to put that at, and then adjust accordingly. So the large hole, that's 5/8 diameter, is for the actuator. Then you're going to have 2 larger holes that are countersunk, which is going to be for the 2 longer machine screws that you'll get, and the 2, it's basically a sex bolt. You're going to get the male portion and the female portion. That will go literally through the door, and it's also going to go through the hole for the lock. So you'll install the lock body, you'll prep the edge of the door, get the lock body put in, after you've drilled and countersunk your holes for the through bolts, and you'll through bolt the lock body right through the door. Okay, and this item for sure is available separately. That part number is well, actually, it all is available separately, and it's on the installation instructions. These are B826-10-166. These are S262 10R24. So they've got 603 there. That's going to give you a zinc screw. So if you order those screws separately, be sure. The answer is it doesn't matter the color of the screw, because it's going to be covered is the answer. Okay, so that this happens to be colored. You know, we ordered a 121 finish, so that's what they supplied us with. So you'll get 2 of those to get the lock body at least to the door. At that point, you've got the 2 sets of through bolts, lock body in the door to the 2 sets of through bolts. You can then put your actuator onto the door, and then temporarily place your handle over it and make sure that it operates correctly. Before you do that, however, you're going to install the riv nuts, and there are 4 of them. You need 2 for each side of the door, and then you're going to use the short 1032 machine screws. And the riv nut is a part number B825-10-135. And what the riv nut's job is, and I've sketched it out for us to look at, is to allow you to install the handle down to the face of the door. So I've sketched it out, and this is what it looks like. This is looking as a cross section of your door. What you see here is drilling a hole and inserting the riv nut into that hole. Okay, just put it in. After the handle goes over it, and then you run your machine screw through the handle escutcheon into the threads of the riv nut, it's going to crush and collapse like this. A hollow wall or a hollow application type anchor is what the riv nut does. And that's what's going to secure it down to the door. And in fact, it will give you a permanent anchoring point for future handles as well. They do tell us that those holes are they just prep for the 1032 riv nut. They don't give us a size for that on page 1. Page 2, they don't give us that either. At all. So these riv nuts are not round. The outside diameter of it at its maximum is about 0.25. The caliper tells me 0.247. Okay, so I might be looking to drill a hole right at that size, get it positioned in so that it kind of stays there. And then my handle, of course, is, you know, when you run that screw, it's going to want to draw the item out, and it will a little bit. But what's going to happen is it's going to get captive inside of this recessed area to where it can no longer go any further in. And once you start to continue to tighten at that point, it's going to crush that riv nut in and hold it to the hollow thickness of your aluminum door. And that's what this 4570 is intended for. You're not going to have success installing that onto a wood door naturally. A hollow metal door, the thickness of an aluminum door is basically 1/8 of an inch. A hollow metal door is going to be 60 thousandths, a 1/16 of an inch. And I don't know that the riv nut would crush down far enough to work onto a hollow metal door. You can obviously mitigate that problem using maybe a binder post, a set of binder posts. For that matter, you'd be able to just order the other through bolts that you have and force a solution at that point. And that then concludes all of the parts that are included in terms of the fastening of the unit itself. The balance of the installation instructions on page 1 refer to how you can install it either bolt up or bolt down. If you want handles up, you're going to install it bolt down. They tell us that if you want that, to invert your templating, just turn it over. And they do show what that would look like. And I don't see anything else on the installation instructions worthy to call attention to. Everything else there is simple and straightforward. Now, the balance of the extended description information tells us nothing else important, so we're covered there. You do have your link to the instructions. Finally, there's a link to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Adams Rite products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Not only is the full product catalog there, but what is also there is a link to their parts manual, and it's by no means comprehensive, meaning it doesn't contain everything Adams Rite related. For instance, the 4570 assembly is certainly not there. However, it does have dozens of pages of parts drawings for much of their line. The name Adams Rite is synonymous with many items that are pretty unique to them only. Obviously not electric strikes, but they have a comprehensive offering of good quality, mid-grade in terms of price electric strikes. But you're going to find solutions to hardware that other people really don't offer. And what I mean by that would be cylinder-operated flush bolts. Adams Rite is great for that. They're not the only people in the world that will make a bottom rail bolt, but their name is quite synonymous when it comes to bottom rail locking bolts. You can draw on the Adams Rite product line and the catalog that's linked on the manufacturer's page to really familiarize yourself with a company who has, as their core product line, an absolute unique offering of products. If you are a locksmith, if you work in the aluminum storefront industry, if you work in hollow metal doors and frames, if you work in a hospital as an engineer and you need ICU door parts, it's very likely you're going to need to bump into Adams Rite sooner or later. Then finally, I can tell you that I'm partial to Adams Rite for the aforementioned reasons, but also because their technical support department is exceptional when it comes to responding. They don't sometimes respond, they always respond. If I send tech support a question on something that's not obvious, or it's something that's not published and I need to reach out to the factory for the answer, they always respond. And that's deeply appreciated because their client base are usually integrators, or at least people who are getting their hands on the material and then needing to take ownership of responsibility for installing it. So them supporting their client base is utterly crucial, because there are other people that make a lot of what they make. It's not Adams Rite in terms of the name, but they do need to support that product so that people continue to not look for other solutions to these sorts of unique problems that only Adams Rite has solved. Any questions on the 4570-01? And that 01 is going to tell us our door thickness. Obviously, if you have an unusual door thickness, we would need to know that, but I don't believe that you would at all. In a 121 finish or any other Adams Rite product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.